In today's world, the idea of a high-value man is often misunderstood. Some people think it's all about wealth, looks, status, or power, how many cars you have, how well dressed you are, or how much attention you can get from others, particularly women. But these superficial markers of value don't last, and deep down, we know they don't make us truly worthy. So what does it mean to be a high-value man for women, and more importantly, for yourself? The truth is, becoming a high-value man has nothing to do with the material things around you. It's about who you are when no one is watching. It's about your mindset, your values, and how you carry yourself in the world. A high-value man is a man of substance, someone who is grounded, disciplined, and strong in character. He knows his worth, and he doesn't need to shout it from the rooftops. At the heart of this transformation is a timeless philosophy: Stoicism. Stoicism teaches that true power and value come from within. It's about mastering yourself, your mind, your emotions, and your reactions, so that you can remain calm and steady in any situation. Women, and people in general, are naturally drawn to men who have this kind of inner strength. A man who doesn't allow external circumstances to control him radiates a quiet, unshakable confidence. Let's begin with the most important concept: self-worth. A high-value man understands that his value is intrinsic. It doesn't come from what others think of him or what he possesses. He doesn't need external validation to feel good about himself. Instead, his sense of worth comes from within, from his principles, his discipline, and his ability to stay true to who he is. This is something that Stoicism teaches very clearly. We cannot control the opinions or actions of others, but we can control how we act, think, and feel. Think about the men you admire, whether they're historical figures, modern leaders, or even men in your own life. What stands out about them? It's usually their calmness under pressure, their ability to remain focused and composed when others around them are panicking. These are the qualities of a man who has mastered himself, and this is what Stoicism is all about. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote about the importance of maintaining inner peace, no matter what's happening in the world around you. A major trap that many men fall into is the constant need for external validation, particularly from women. They believe that to be high value, they need to be admired or desired by as many women as possible. This mindset leads to behaviors that are ultimately self-destructive. It creates a never-ending cycle of seeking approval and feeling unworthy if that approval isn't constantly given. Stoicism teaches us to break free from this cycle by focusing on what we can control: our own thoughts, actions, and personal growth. Women are not attracted to men who are constantly seeking their validation. It shows insecurity and a lack of self-worth. A high-value man doesn't chase approval, whether it's from women or anyone else. He knows his value is already there. When you stop chasing validation and instead focus on building yourself up, something interesting happens. People begin to respect and admire you more. You don't need to prove anything because your actions and your character speak for themselves. This is a key shift in mindset that separates a high-value man from others. Instead of asking, "How can I get women to like me?" the question becomes, "How can I become a man who naturally attracts respect and admiration because of who I am?" This shift not only changes how others see you, but it also transforms your entire approach to life. Now let's talk about one of the core principles of Stoicism that is essential to becoming a high-value man: self-mastery. What does it mean to have self-mastery? It means being in control of your emotions, your desires, and your actions. A man who is in control of himself doesn't react impulsively or let his emotions dictate his behavior. Instead, he takes a moment to reflect, to think, and to respond in a way that aligns with his values. This is especially important when it comes to relationships with women. Too often men allow their emotions to lead them, whether it's lust, jealousy, or insecurity. A high-value man is different. He is calm and composed, not because he's emotionless, but because he has learned how to control his emotions. He understands that emotions are temporary and that reacting impulsively can often lead to regret. By practicing self-mastery, you become more grounded, more stable, and more attractive. Women are naturally drawn to men who are emotionally secure, who don't let their feelings overwhelm them. They want to be with someone they can rely on, someone who can stay calm and collected even when things get tough. The next pillar of becoming a high-value man is discipline. Discipline is what separates those who merely dream from those who achieve. A high-value man is someone who is disciplined in all areas of his life, whether it's his physical health, his career, or his personal development. He sets goals and he works toward them consistently, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. In a world where instant gratification is the norm, discipline is a rare and highly valuable trait. When you have the discipline to stay focused on your long-term goals, to wake up early, to train your body, to invest in your mind, and to build your future, you stand out. And this is another key aspect of becoming a high-value man for women. You're not just living for today, you're building a future that reflects your values and ambitions. A man with discipline is someone who can be relied upon, and this is incredibly attractive. He doesn't need to boast or brag, because his actions speak louder than words. Women notice when a man is disciplined in his life. It shows that he has control over himself, his habits, and his future. Finally, a high-value man is defined by his purpose. He doesn't drift through life aimlessly. He has a mission, something greater than himself that drives him forward. This sense of purpose gives him direction and meaning, and it's one of the most attractive qualities a man can have. When you're driven by a mission, whether it's building a business, creating art, or helping others, you naturally exude confidence and strength. This doesn't mean you have to have everything figured out right now, but it does mean that you're actively working towards something that aligns with your values. A high-value man is always growing, always learning, and always striving to improve himself. He doesn't settle for mediocrity, and he doesn't waste time on things that don't matter in the long run. This sense of purpose makes him magnetic, because people, including women, are drawn to someone who is living life with intention and focus. Becoming a high-value man is not about external success or validation. It's about mastering yourself, your emotions, your actions, and your purpose. Through Stoicism, we learn that true power comes from within. When you focus on building your character, developing discipline, and living with purpose, you naturally become a man of high value. This isn't about playing games or manipulating others. It's about becoming someone who is truly worthy of respect and admiration. Now that we've set the foundation for what it means to be a high-value man, let's take a closer look at the challenges and common misconceptions many men face on this journey. One of the biggest issues is how society defines a man's worth. Too often, men are led to believe that their value comes from external factors: wealth, physical appearance, status, and most prominently, the attention of women. While these things can bring temporary gratification, they don't lead to true, lasting fulfillment. The problem with this approach is that it's based on chasing something outside of yourself. You're constantly seeking validation, approval, or attention from others to feel worthy. This creates a dangerous dependency because your sense of self-worth becomes tied to how others perceive you. It's a fragile state, easily disrupted if you don't receive the external affirmation you crave. This is where many men fall into a cycle of insecurity, trying to keep up appearances, or win the approval of women through superficial means. In the world of dating and relationships, this leads to what we often call chasing. Men who are constantly chasing women's attention, validation, or approval find themselves frustrated. because no matter how much they try, it's never enough. They might use tactics to appear more successful or play games to seem more attractive, but underneath it all, they feel empty. This is not what being a high-value man is about. The more you focus on gaining approval from others, particularly women, the more you lose sight of yourself. You end up making decisions based on what you think others want, rather than staying true to your own values and desires. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy, because no matter how much you try to please others, you can never fully control how they respond. Stoicism teaches us that external validation is fleeting and unreliable. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In other words, we cannot control what others think or do. We can only control our own actions, attitudes, and responses. A high-value man understands this and refuses to base his sense of self-worth on something as unstable as others' opinions. Instead, he looks inward, relying on his own principles and discipline to define his value. This doesn't mean that the opinions of others don't matter at all. Of course, in social and professional contexts, relationships and reputations are important. But a high-value man doesn't let these external factors dictate his identity or his actions. He listens, he learns, but ultimately, he acts according to his own compass, not the whims of others. There's another layer to this problem: insecurity. Men who chase external validation are often insecure about their own worth. They feel that if they don't get constant approval, whether through compliments, attention, or the affection of women, they are somehow lacking. This insecurity is a powerful motivator, but it drives men in the wrong direction. Instead of looking inward and addressing the root cause of their insecurity, they seek distractions and temporary boosts to their self-esteem. This is why so many men become obsessed with impressing women through superficial means. They focus on appearing wealthy, powerful, or attractive, thinking that this will make them desirable. But the reality is, even if you manage to impress someone temporarily, it's not sustainable. Women, like anyone else, can sense when a man's confidence is genuine or when it's just a facade. A man who is truly high value doesn't need to impress anyone. His confidence comes from within, and it's rooted in his principles, not his possessions or status. This insecurity also leads to emotional instability. Men who rely on external validation often react strongly when they don't get it. They may become anxious, jealous, or angry if a woman isn't showing them the attention they crave. But a high-value man, grounded in stoicism, understands that emotional reactions like these only weaken his position. He knows that true power comes from controlling his emotions, not letting them control him. One of the biggest contributors to this problem in modern society is social media. Platforms like Instagram and TikTok constantly bombard us with images of wealth, success, and status, making it seem like that's what defines value. Men often feel pressured to live up to these unrealistic standards, thinking that to be seen as valuable, they need to present a picture-perfect image to the world. This leads to a sense of inadequacy when reality doesn't match the highlight reels we see online. The truth is, these external symbols of success are not the measure of a man's worth. They may look impressive from the outside, but they don't reflect the inner qualities that truly matter: strength of character, integrity, discipline, and emotional control. A high-value man isn't swayed by the trends or the pressure to present a certain image. Instead, he focuses on developing himself from the inside out. Marcus Aurelius, another great Stoic philosopher, reminded us that we should not be distracted by appearances. The truth is often hidden beneath the surface. This is especially true in today's world. It's easy to get caught up in appearances and think that the number of followers, likes, or material possessions define who we are. But a high-value man knows that what truly matters is what lies beneath, the strength of his character and the principles he lives by. At the core of these issues is the struggle to overcome destructive emotions, fear, jealousy, anger, and insecurity. These emotions are natural, but they can be incredibly damaging when left unchecked. A high-value man recognizes this and works to master his emotions rather than being ruled by them. He understands that emotional stability is one of the most attractive qualities a man can have. When you master your emotions, you're no longer reactive. You don't get angry or defensive when someone challenges you. You don't feel insecure if a woman doesn't give you the attention you expected. Instead, you remain calm, grounded, and confident in yourself. This emotional control is not only crucial in romantic relationships, but in every area of life, from business to friendships to personal development. Stoicism offers powerful tools for achieving this emotional mastery. One of the key teachings of Stoicism is the concept of apatheia, or freedom from destructive passions. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or becoming cold and detached. Instead, it's about recognizing when emotions arise and choosing not to let them control you. A high-value man experiences emotions like anyone else, but he knows how to pause, reflect, and respond rationally rather than reacting impulsively. So what's the solution to these challenges? How can you break free from the need for external validation, overcome insecurity, and stop chasing approval from others? The answer lies in focusing on your inner development. Instead of seeking value outside of yourself, start building it within. Cultivate self-discipline, work on emotional mastery, and commit to living according to your principles, rather than society's expectations. A high-value man doesn't need to prove his worth to anyone because he already knows it. He doesn't chase validation or approval because he's secure in who he is. He doesn't react emotionally to every situation because he's learned to master his emotions. This is the kind of man who naturally attracts respect and admiration from women and from everyone else. The challenges we've discussed are real, but they're not insurmountable. With focus, discipline, and a commitment to personal growth, you can become the high-value man you aspire to be. And as you do, you'll find that women, and everyone else, will begin to see your value too. Not because you're seeking their approval, but because you're living in a way that commands respect and admiration. The first step toward becoming a high-value man is adopting a Stoic mindset. This begins with understanding that while we cannot control the external world, we can always control our inner world. Life is full of uncertainties, whether it's in relationships, career, or personal challenges. But the Stoic man doesn't react to the chaos around him. Instead, he accepts what he cannot change and focuses all his energy on what he can, his thoughts, actions, and reactions. The Stoic mindset is built on two key principles: detachment from external outcomes and control over your own responses. You must learn to separate your sense of self-worth from the results of your actions. Whether you succeed or fail in a given moment doesn't define who you are. What matters is how you handle the outcome and how you move forward. One of the most important aspects of becoming a high-value man is mastering your emotions. Emotional resilience is not about suppressing how you feel, but about learning how to manage your emotions in a way that serves you rather than controls you. The Stoics teach that emotions are natural, but how we react to them is what defines us. A high-value man is calm under pressure. When others are reactive, he remains composed. When others lash out in anger or frustration, he takes a step back to assess the situation. This ability to stay grounded is what sets him apart. It shows strength, not just to others, but to himself. Discipline is the foundation of a high-value man's life. It's the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. This includes maintaining good habits, staying focused on long-term goals, and consistently showing up for yourself. Whether it's in your career, your fitness, or your personal relationships, discipline is what keeps you on track. Stoicism teaches that self-control is essential for living a good life. This means not giving in to every impulse or desire. It means being mindful of your actions and understanding the consequences of every decision. A high-value man practices discipline not because it's easy, but because it builds strength of character. To be a high-value man for women, it's essential to master your approach to relationships. The key is not to chase or seek validation from women, but to develop yourself in a way that naturally attracts respect and admiration. This comes from confidence, not arrogance, from strength, not domination, and from emotional intelligence, not manipulation. A high-value man is clear about his values and boundaries. He communicates openly and honestly, without playing games or trying to control others. Stoicism teaches that relationships should be based on mutual respect and growth, not on possession or power dynamics. A high-value man is driven by a sense of purpose. He doesn't drift aimlessly through life, but instead he's guided by a mission, something bigger than himself. This purpose might be related to his career, his family, his creative work, or even his personal growth. Whatever it is, it gives his life direction and meaning. The Stoics believed that a sense of purpose is essential to living a good life. Marcus Aurelius, for example, often wrote about the importance of living in accordance with nature and fulfilling one's role in the world. For a high-value man, this means understanding what you are meant to do and dedicating yourself fully to that mission. At the core of a high-value man's character is integrity. He stands by his word and lives by his principles. Integrity means doing the right thing, even when no one is watching, and making decisions based on what aligns with your values, not on what is convenient or easy. In a world where it's easy to cut corners or follow the crowd, a man of integrity stands out. The Stoics placed a high value on virtue. For them, living a virtuous life was the ultimate goal. A high-value man is someone who lives with honesty, kindness, and respect for others. He doesn't compromise his values for short-term gain, and he earns the trust of those around him by consistently doing what is right. Finally, becoming a high-value man means achieving a sense of inner peace. This doesn't mean that life will always be calm or easy, but it means that you have the tools to handle whatever comes your way. When you live with discipline, purpose, and emotional control, you naturally develop a sense of tranquility. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to others or to seek validation from external sources. The Stoics teach that inner peace comes from accepting life as it is and focusing only on what you can control. A high-value man finds contentment in knowing that he is living according to his principles and becoming the best version of himself. By developing a Stoic mindset, practicing discipline, mastering your emotions, and living with purpose and integrity, you can become the high-value man you are meant to be. This journey is not about perfection, but about progress. Every step you take toward personal growth brings you closer to the man you want to become, and the value you create for yourself will naturally be reflected in the world around you. At this point, everything we've discussed comes to a head. The journey toward becoming a high-value man is not about material success, external validation, or how others perceive you. It's about inner mastery. The true turning point, the moment of realization, comes when you finally understand that your value is determined by the way you live your life, not by what others think of you. You realize that no matter how much you accumulate, how many people admire you, or how many achievements you earn, none of it matters if you don't have control over your mind and emotions. The Stoic path teaches you that the greatest value is in mastering yourself, and once you truly grasp this, your life changes. A high-value man doesn't seek to impress others. He seeks to live in alignment with his values, to stay true to his principles, and to cultivate a sense of peace that comes from within. He understands that his strength, discipline, and purpose are what make him valuable, not external circumstances. Now that you've reached this point of inner mastery, it's time to reflect on how this transformation affects your relationships, particularly with women. The truth is, women are not looking for perfection. They're not interested in a man who pretends to have it all figured out. What they are truly drawn to is a man who is confident in who he is, who stands by his values, and who isn't swayed by the opinions of others. A high-value man attracts women naturally because he is secure in himself. He doesn't chase, he doesn't manipulate, and he doesn't play games. Instead, he builds connections based on mutual respect, honesty, and emotional strength. He is not afraid to be vulnerable because he knows that vulnerability, when paired with strength, is a sign of true confidence. When you stop seeking validation from women and focus on your own growth, the right women will be drawn to you. They will see your authenticity and respect you for it. This is the key to mastering relationships, the understanding that you don't need to prove your worth to anyone. You simply need to live as the best version of yourself. One of the final lessons of Stoicism, and the climactic realization in your journey to becoming a high-value man, is embracing uncertainty and imperfection. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much you plan, control, or prepare, things will not always go as expected. And that's okay. The Stoic approach teaches you that you are not defined by the things you can't control, but by how you handle them. The high-value man doesn't fear failure. He doesn't fear rejection. He understands that these things are part of life, and he uses them as opportunities to grow. He embraces imperfection in himself and others, knowing that it is through struggle and adversity that true strength is built. When you accept that you are not meant to be perfect and that the world is not meant to be predictable, you free yourself from unnecessary worry and fear. You allow yourself to live fully, to take risks, and to find peace in the chaos. The moment of realization is not a single event, but a process. It's the moment you understand that becoming a high-value man is not about impressing others or reaching a certain status. It's about mastering yourself, embracing uncertainty, and living in alignment with your values. Once you reach this understanding, everything else falls into place: your relationships, your goals, and your sense of purpose. At the end of this journey, it's clear that becoming a high-value man is about more than external success or validation. It's about developing a mindset grounded in Stoic principles, emotional control, discipline, integrity, and purpose. A high-value man knows that his worth comes from within, not from what others think of him. He is calm in the face of adversity, disciplined in his actions, and driven by a deeper sense of purpose. Through this journey, you've learned how to master your emotions, build meaningful relationships, and embrace the uncertainties of life. You've learned that true strength lies in controlling your mind, not controlling the world around you. And most importantly, you've learned that your value is not something that can be given or taken away by others. It's something that you cultivate from within. But remember, becoming a high-value man is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong commitment to growth and self-improvement. Every day you have the opportunity to choose how you will respond to the world around you. Every challenge, every setback, and every success is an opportunity to reinforce your values and strengthen your character. This journey is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up for yourself every day, no matter how difficult the road ahead may be. A high-value man understands that the greatest battle he will ever fight is the one within himself, the battle to overcome doubt, fear, and the desire for external validation. But this is also the most rewarding battle because it leads to true freedom and fulfillment. Now that you've learned what it takes to become a high-value man, it's time to take action. The knowledge you've gained today is only as powerful as the steps you take to apply it in your life. Start small. Focus on mastering your emotions, developing discipline in one area of your life, or setting clear boundaries in your relationships. Each step you take toward growth brings you closer to the man you're meant to be. Remember, the journey to becoming a high-value man is a lifelong pursuit. There will be ups and downs, successes and setbacks, but with every challenge, you have the opportunity to grow stronger. Embrace this journey and commit to showing up for yourself every day. The man you want to become is already within you. Now it's time to bring him to the surface. In the end, being a high-value man is not about what you have or what you've achieved. It's about who you are, your mindset, your values, and the way you choose to live your life. Remember, your value is determined by your actions, your discipline, and your character. Keep walking this path, and you will not only become a high-value man for women, but for yourself.